So a lot of people have been asking me, hey, Nelly, I have a laptop, I have internet. How do I start? How do I get started with learning how to make websites and apps? And this is, in my opinion, this is how you can go about it. The first question that you need to ask yourself is, do you learn better when you're guided by a human being? Is that something that you learn better with? Or are you the type of person that just does not need any guidance? And if the answer to that question is no, that means you're one of those people that can pick up anything, teach it yourself, follow some minor guidances that are, either online or, you know, somebody that you don't have to be with, and you can pick up things really easily. So if that's you, here are some resources that you can use. There is this website. If you go to W3 Schools, if you Google that, you will basically find a plethora of resources. I mean, it starts with HTML, which is literally the basic level that you can start learning about, how websites are put together. And that resource is huge. I would say anybody that wants to get started, I don't even if you don't, even if you really don't learn better with even if you learn better with a human resource, I would say start at W3 Schools and see how you feel about it, and do some of the exercises that they have. Mostly they have a piece of code that they have some explanations that tell you the website is, what that language is, and then they have a little try yourself section where when you click it, you can see everything, and you see what basically just go out there. I think millions of people use this. I would say, I want to bet that 90% of the people that have done web development have checked our website out, either for learning or pretty much just a resource when you don't remember something. The second resource that I have for you here is Free Code Camp. Free Code Camp is my favorite because it is interactive. And by that, I mean, they basically have a curriculum that's really, really, really detailed, as far as they take you through different tracks. They have even certificates when you're done with them. And basically, you just go there, you say, hey, I want to get started. And this is a nonprofit too. These guys don't really charge anything. It's a whole 100% free. And you go there and basically you start from the beginning, and they teach you what everything is. And, they give you have something on the left where you go on the left and you read some instructions. And on the right, they have, some practice place where you write what they're telling you, and you get to check it. And it either, works or it doesn't work because you made a mistake, and they tell you what mistake it is. And you keep going in like that, and basically you can learn the whole. There's thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that have learned web development that way and went on to get amazing jobs, that went on to build amazing stuff. And the Free Code Camp team is super helpful. They've created communities around their curriculum. So that's another resource that you can use. There's Code Academy. I tried Code Academy. I think when I was starting out to learn, it was a little. I think it was still in its early stages, and me personally, I didn't really like it that much. But I've heard a lot of people that like it. There's a lot of people that literally wouldn't switch from Code Academy to Free Code Camp, but they have a similar test as far as like it's interactive. They have some instructions about what you do, and then you do it, and they tell you if it's right or wrong, and they give you some corrections. And the one thing that I gotta mention about Free Code Camp, if even if you've done some things, and the cool thing is, every single thing you do, they give you some, you see some checks, you get some points. And they also have projects at the end of every module. So again, that's a resource out there for people. And another one on my favorite is called Udemy. Udemy is basically it's like the app store of classes. People go there, amazing people, amazing instructors go there, and they create a course, and they pick a topic, they pick a technology, and they just go in, and they charge, I've bought classes for like $5 or $10. And these are renowned, fantastic instructors. I mean, some people teach there, and you think you're in their class. Again, they have videos, they have walkthroughs, they basically have exercises, and they basically have TAs. They have pretty much chats that chats that you can go in, ask questions. There's a bunch of students in there that can help you, and it's fantastic. And there, there's YouTube, of course. YouTube, you can go there and pretty much search about, for a video about anything. So, but you gotta know what you're searching for, and there's just a lot of options there. So same thing with Udemy. You just gotta know, what classes to take, which instructor is really good. But the cool thing is they have, if you search for web development, they show you the ones that are selling the most, the ones that have the most reviews and whatnot. And I think I should probably make a video just reviewing some of the classes that I've taught, I've taken from this, right? And this is a resource that I've used when I was learning, when I was starting to learn how to, make apps and websites and whatnot. And there's always online tutorials too. You go to Medium, and there's a bunch of write-ups. There is a bunch. Just Google how to get started with web development tutorials. There is a bunch, a gazillion of things that you can go there and do. Again, if you're somebody that does not really require human guidance, these are some really amazing resources that you can use. And if you are somebody that requires human guidance, there's also a few options. And those options start now because, there's, in this case, like Udemy, they charge a little small fee. These instructors have built some amazing classes, and they charge a small fee, and you pay and you buy the class. Now, when and the reason why they could do that is because, if a lot of people take these classes, so they could charge like $10. If a lot of, if 100,000 people buy this class at $10, that they just made $1 million, if you don't count out the fee that Udemy takes out of their pay or whatever, however much they make. So that's $10 because they're basically doing it. They probably record a class. It takes, I imagine it takes somewhere between 3 months and probably 6 months. And they record that class. They record everything. They build everything, and then they put it out there. And basically, people take these classes whether these guys are sleeping or not, right? So since they don't, there's not a whole lot of help, hand holding, they can charge less. But once you start moving into, hey, I need help, then you start talking money, because you got to pay somebody to help you. And this is where it gets really interesting. There's quite some options here, The other question that you have to ask yourself, how much money are you willing to spend to learn this skill? There's this option of, if you have somewhere between $10,000 and $30,000 to spend, then you are in a treat. Literally Google coding bootcamp near me. And if you're in the United States, there is a bunch. I used to teach for, I think, one of the best coding bootcamps in the whole United States, called Trilogy Education Services. And I could go into detail and, review this coding bootcamp, but basically currently I think they have a bootcamp at any major university in the United States. And they partner with, with these universities, and they offer classes at these universities. And when you graduate, they actually give you a certificate that you graduated from this university. And they have classes that are running for like 3 months, which is full time, and they have classes that are running part time, which end up going, for long. And I've taught about 65 students, all combined. I've taught, started, I was a TA at Georgia Tech, where I had a bunch of students. I was doing it remote. I taught my first class at UC Davis. I had about 32 students, and I ended up teaching, and that was a part-time class at UC Davis, and I ended up teaching at Northwestern, which was more full-time. And, I taught about like 30 students there. And I was gonna teach another class that they started at Harvard, but it didn't work out because of my schedule, and I was starting a new job and my time, and I just had to focus on this app that I was building, or building a company around it. and I just didn't have the time, so I didn't teach it. But again, if you have that much money, if you've saved that, or if you could take out a loan or whatever, if you can spend that much, you get some incredible service out of that. And I know a lot of people that have spent that much that went on to get, six-figure jobs, some of my students. But if you don't have that much, if you don't have that much, I think I'm pretty sure, there is a bunch of other, price points, whatever. But, what I want to guide you to is, do you have $400 to spend? If you don't have $400 to spend, maybe you need to look into, probably start teaching yourself, because, the reality is, if you can't pay somebody to help you, then I don't know if there's a bunch of people that are out there just doing it for free. Some people are, but I think there's a certain point, and if you don't have $400 to invest in yourself, I understand life could happen or whatever, or if you don't want to even spend that, you might have it, but you don't want to spend it, then my best option for you is, then go to those resources and, start learning. And I know a lot of people that went that route and, ended up being great developers and ended up doing amazing stuff, okay? So if you do have $400 to spend, that's why I really built Coding 0 to 100. What Coding 0 to 100 is, from my experience of teaching these coding boot camps and seeing just how, first, it's a financial burden if that's all the money that you had saved, and second, it's a whole lot of time commitment, as far as you basically committing 3 months or even 6 months, and you basically just lump this money into this investment in yourself, which is strong, which is just really great. But what I've noticed is that people learn at a different pace, and there's a bunch of people that really pick up things fast, and there's a bunch of people that pick up things really slow compared to other people. And not to say that the people that pick up things slower are less capable. They have the same potential, but things just don't click as fast. And what I've noticed is that for those people that don't catch up as fast, they have the hardest time. And when they're having the hardest time in these 3 months condensed, boot camps, or 6 months, part-time boot camps, there's so much to cover that sometimes if whoever is teaching the class, because again, whoever is teaching the class, they're also, they're probably either doing something else, they're coming in and, teaching something part-time, or they might even be doing full-time, but they still have a lot of things to cover. So it's up to you to catch up. And if you're one of those people that's having a hard time, what I've realized, a lot of people really get super nervous and overwhelmed. But the reality is they've already sunk $10,000 into this investment, so they better hold on with their life and hope that they get it. And if whoever is teaching them is not that passionate to actually, give them extra help, then it's easy for those people to get left behind and always play catch up. And by the time they graduate, they were sitting in the class and they were learning a lot of stuff, but they might have not picked up as much or learned as much. So from realizing that, I basically created something that I believe it fits into and it serves the demographic, the people that learn best when they're guided, that do not have any technical background, which is what I've, who I've noticed to really struggle a whole lot, because again, these concepts, it's kind of like you're shifting your mind to different ways of thinking. So those kind of people, but also to alleviate the pressure of just how much money you're just investing, right? So instead of, taking these classes for like 3 months, I've just reduced it to just 1 month. And I'm not covering everything in 1 month, but it's more, hey, let's hold on to three things and build one thing in a month. And let's focus on that. And once we're done with that, you can either say, hey, I really get this and I want to move on to the next thing. Or, you know what? It hasn't clicked yet. I want to practice some more. And you can take a break. Or life happens and you got to do something. You could just basically, once you're done with that one self-contained month module, then, you can go do whatever you want. Every single month, there is a new module that gets started. So you could basically come back, pick up where you left off, aka pick up another 2, 3 skills, build something with it, and pick up another skill, build something with it. Again, this is 4 weeks, and for those 4 weeks, you pay $400. That is $100 every single week. And I mean, in my opinion, and the other thing that I've put into this, I've really given a whole lot to my students, because I was one of those instructors that when a student was stuck, I believed that they could get it. It's just that it was taking them longer. So I went the extra mile for them. And I figured that, they end up getting it. But what I learned from that is also, what are some of the things that people get stuck on? What are some of the things that don't make sense? And how did it make sense to those students that were struggling the most? So those analogies and those little nuances, I basically baked them into this curriculum that I honestly think is amazing. And so yeah, that those are some of the options that you could look at, depending on where you fall in these categories. And I can't end without saying that I'm offering my first Coding 0 to 100 class officially in February. So beginning of February, I'm taking applications, and it's gonna be amazing. And it's fully online. So again, you can be wherever you want, and it's gonna be 3 days out of a week: Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And it's gonna be in the evening, 4 hours. So I'm gonna do 4 hours for 3 days. That's 12 hours. And basically, you can find out more about these classes that I'm offering if you want. Follow me on Instagram, and you'll see everything. My username is Nelly Sugu, or Coding 0 to 100 on Instagram as well. And check it out. Hit me up. There is a link in my bio. You click on it. It's pretty much my portfolio. Shows some reviews that I have for my students, and you could pretty much sign up on that portfolio and tell me a little bit about yourself, and I can send you more details about the class. I'm taking only 15 students in this first class. Pretty much every class I'm going to only take 15 students, just so I can be able to better support them and help them. And during the class, of course, every student every week, you're going to get 1 hour of individual one-on-one help from me. So again, these are some of the options for those, for those of you that asked, hey, what are some of the options that I can use that I can get started? And please comment, share. If you agree with this, if you don't agree with it, just hit me up, and let me know what have worked for you, what hasn't worked, what have you used, and what some of the challenges that you've ran into when you were learning how to make websites and apps and whatnot.